we should never be sorry for ourselves. You know, there's always somebody far worse off than you. I don't care what's happening to you right now. I'm doing lots and lots and lots of different things so that when this hip is replaced, I can then get back to training without there being this big gap.
What would you say are the areas of your martial arts that you currently focusing on, like in relation to your own personal development or research for that matter?
I was teaching at a dojo and I had a small crack, a very, very small crack. So small, in fact, that the doctors couldn't find it to begin with. And I got an infection through that crack in my foot, because of course we train in bare feet. And by the time I got back to Bangkok, I was in pain. It didn't hurt at all at the time. I mean, how could it? It wouldn't. It's just when I was sat on the plane. So I thought I must have slept with my leg in a funny position. But it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I went to see the doctor, the surgeon who actually replaced my knees. And he said, look, it could be arthritis. He said, we'll do scans and so on. He said, but I'm going to Japan for a week to lecture on orthopedic technique. He said, when we get back, we'll do a full rundown and we'll come to a decision in terms of what we're going to do. And in the meantime, do this, 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 and this, and this. Anyway, 4 days later, fortunately, he gave me his direct number. 4 days later, I looked down, I was working at my desk, and it looked as though my leg was falling off. By the way, you won't find anything like this about this on Facebook. I don't like to share poor moments. I'm not looking for anybody's sympathy, but I'm explaining this so that you understand in terms of personal development. So I phoned him and I took my trousers off, took a photograph of my leg. I sent him on social media the picture. He phoned me back 5 minutes later. Thank God I had his number. He said, this is an emergency. He said, you're to go straight to hospital right now. He said, I've got my team waiting for you and I've booked you already into the operating theater. You need to be there in the next 30 minutes. So I went to the hospital. I contacted my wife, went to the hospital. And within an hour, I was in surgery and I lost my whole hip. I'd got an infection that had traveled up my leg, missed my knee, missed everything, got to my hip, lodged in the hip, and then within a 3-week period, completely ate the bone in my hip. So I lost my hip completely. So I'm lying in bed in the hospital and I'm thinking, okay, I've got 2 choices here. I can either feel sorry for myself or I can do something productive. I thought, well, I'll do something productive. I'll revise the teaching program that we use globally, or I'll revise the grading program because I'd already set all of my Shihans the task of revising the curriculum. So I thought I'll get involved in that process. And I thought, but before I do that, I did mention once before that Tani Sensei got me to write haiku. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll collect that together. I'll categorize it so that it can be a resource for my senior students. Anyway, it's finished up being a book, and I'm very proud of it, and it's going to be, I'm hoping, worth the read. But it's about becoming a warrior. It's not about doing a style of karate. Of course, some of the things I talk about are about Sensei Tani or Sensei Kimura, Sensei Nambu, because these are the people who directly influenced my life. But I could equally be writing about Higawana Sensei or Kanazawa Sensei or Enoida Sensei or Oyama Sensei, or I could be writing about any of these people. Because the common denominator in a good sensei, one who has gone before, the common denominator is a caring for the people. I don't care whether they're Shotokan, Wadaryu, Goju-ryu, Shita-ryu, I don't care who they are. If they are a good sensei, the common denominator is that they actually care. And so I could be writing about anybody. So if you read it, you can change the names because I'm sure that it will apply. But what I focused on in that period was not being sorry for myself. We should never be sorry for ourselves. You know, there's always somebody far worse off than you. I don't care what's happening to you right now. So don't feel sorry for yourself. Do something to change the situation in which you find yourself. For the first time in my life, I can't train at the moment. I lost one hip, had it replaced, but in the process, it's damaged the other hip. So I'm having the other hip. So I haven't been in the gym for 6 months. I'm still training. Fortunately, I can still do a Zenkutsudachi. My Shikudachi is terrible. But I can do enough to keep my visualization. I can do enough to keep my physical moving. The synapse, the connection between the nerves, I can keep those all firing, even though I can't do it. And of course, I'm training in the pool where the water takes the weight of my body, so I can actually move. So I'm doing lots and lots and lots of different things so that when this hip is replaced, I can then get back to training without there being this big gap. And I think that karate people, if they've been doing it for a long time, I think most karate people get a resilience, not just a physical resilience, but a mental resilience, which enables them to deal with things that other people would find challenging. So again, it's about being the warrior at the gate.